another Wednesday, and we are live right here on Facebook. Nathan Quao here, and it's the Premier League Preview Show live on City TV. You can tell your friend to tell a friend to tune in, because this is how your Wednesday afternoon is supposed to be spent. You can drop your comments as we go along. Remember that the coverage is always live every match day right here on City 97.3. Benjamin Nketsia is my main guy. Ben, we are back. It's episode 2 of 38.
Yes, and match week 2, of course, was exciting. A lot of surprises there for me. A lot of teams giving us an idea of what we are to expect from them this season. So I did enjoy match week 2. Some teams put their fans in a position to really, really sweat it out. But I believe that the season, like we said, expect the unexpected, living up to expectations so far.
So let's just have a general run through some of the results. So Man United won again. Arsenal lost for the first time. You know, the questions are being asked. Chelsea picked up a fantastic win in London. And then we had some of those results here in the Liverpool grinding out a result against Palace and all of that. Watford beating Bournemouth on the road. And that was a very fantastic one. Let's start off with the United win. Then lots of things have been said, but people are beginning to say that United will do better than they did last season. I don't know what you think.
Well, certainly. And they started off on the right note, scoring for fun. They are getting the sort of players that need to score to be able to boost the team's confidence also going. I'm talking about Lukaku. I'm talking about Pogba. He's had a feisty start to the season. It looks like he's enjoying his football once again. The question is, will he be able to sustain it over the longer duration? I think that they will, because you look at United's opening 5 to 6 fixtures and they are quite friendly. The sort of games that will give them momentum, will settle their nerves, and will make confidence a very, very tangible thing in the dressing room. So for Jose Mourinho, this must be nice. 4-0, scoring goals for fun, and also keeping clean sheets, extremely important for what United want to do this season. But I still think that it's early days yet. We cannot say that because of how well their rhythm has looked and how good the team has looked so far in the opening 2 games, it's enough to forecast what will happen for the rest of the season. But definitely an early indicator, and definitely something for fans to be excited about.
Let's get to Liverpool. They managed to win. They kept a clean sheet for the first time in the season. That must have been very relieving for Jurgen Klopp. And quickly, they didn't concede. Again, people are asking about that defense, and he didn't concede. And I'm sure he'll be happy with that.
Well, I think that first of all, you need to take that Liverpool result from their track record with Crystal Palace over the past couple of seasons. Now, going into that game, Liverpool had lost 3 home games. Their last 3 home matches against Crystal Palace, and had failed to score at least even 3 goals. So, I mean, to win 1-0, for some other party looking in from the outside, it might look like Liverpool struggled to win the game. But if you look at it from
their previous record,
from a track record point of view, it's a huge boost for them. And I believe that Jurgen Klopp will be excited because, one, again, Philippe Coutinho was out of the mix. He has quite a number of key injuries in his team. You get the sense that Liverpool as a squad have not necessarily settled into full throttle gear yet. So for them to have been able to beat a nemesis like Crystal Palace, nice, gives the team real confidence going forward. And you also get the sense that the drama that has surrounded the club's transfers with regards to Coutinho and Van Dijk is gradually beginning to settle down a little, just so the lads can clear their heads and play football. So that Crystal Palace result, big one.
Arsenal drew, or they lost, they didn't draw. They almost did, but they lost 1-0 at Stoke City. And Arsene Wenger criticised Granit Xhaka, criticised the referee, but clearly that performance lacked a bit of punch when it was needed.
Well, I believe that they just came up against a Stoke side that were motivated. Again, Arsenal, you never really know what to expect from them at the start of a season. And this has been one of those starts for them where it really hasn't been the smoothest. Arsene Wenger always liked to get pre-season going smoothly. There's been drama everywhere for them as well. But as far as the playing body itself is concerned, I'm not too convinced about that central midfield of Arsenal. I'm talking about Granit Xhaka and Aaron Ramsey. I mean, if you want to make it back into the Champions League, you want to be rubbing shoulders with the bigger boys. It's not the sort of partnership.
He always has a decision, because you play Xhaka and El Neni, some people complain. You play Xhaka and Ramsey is not solid enough. There's Coquelin who's still in the mix. There's always a problem or a question that surrounds Arsenal's midfield combinations, but we'll see how they respond. They are at Liverpool this weekend, and that will dominate a lot of our talk later on in the show. Just 2 quick results. 1, Spurs 1, Chelsea 2. Slim win, but huge in terms of the value for Chelsea.
Again, I'm sure that Chelsea fans will have their knives out for me this afternoon. But let me tell you something. Some might say that I'm reaching with my comments about Chelsea being potential strugglers only after a game, and of course today after 2 games into the season. But this is what I think. If you go into a match where it's a derby on strange ground or on a boogie ground to your opponents, and you manage to fetch 2 goals through a wing back, I think that it gives you good insight into what type of season you are looking at.
Could it just not be a day where they just had to unite as a team, and anybody who came up as match winner, thumbs up to the person? Or you still think that if after 2 games your forward liners aren't firing and they aren't getting the goals, and you think that this tells us of a problem in the team?
It definitely does. I mean, again, I will mention Alvaro Morata. I believe that for his debut season, he did.
Shocking.
He did. I believe that for his debut season in the EPL, he will be able to at least reach the 15-goal mark. But I don't think that the 15-goal mark is what will be enough to get Chelsea to defend their crown or even possibly make a top 4. Now, ask yourself again, where are they going to get goals from? Where will Chelsea find Diego Costa's 20-plus goals from? Eden Hazard, still out and still trying to get back in the side. He's played a couple of warm-up matches, so hopefully he should be back in the mix. But again, he's never been that prolific a striker. Pedro will be heavily relied on to be able to pull out his bag of tricks and also get Chelsea goals. But it's about goals, because we know that Chelsea do know how to defend. They've not strayed away from that. They still have a pretty solid defensive unit, if you ask me. I've been impressed with Rudiger. I mean, that game against Tottenham, he's had a lot of skepticism thrown over him because of the sort of business that Chelsea have not done this summer. But I think that he gave a good account of himself in that game. But it really is unacceptable for me for a wing-back to score twice in a derby. I didn't see enough action for the frontliners. I did not see enough creativity. I did not see enough conviction inside the penalty box and enough shot attempts to believe that this Chelsea side was capable of letting the magic happen, good enough to win the title or to defend the title if they had a chance. Again, think about it this way. The talent base is still there. It might have depleted a little with the departure of Matic, but talent will win you a title, but you do need character to defend it.
And you don't think this Chelsea team has got character? I think that win showed strong character.
I believe that character descends from the top, and the sort of character that the manager will show, the sort of character that the top players and the leaders in the team will show is what will transcend the rest of the squad going forward. And so far, I don't know. I believe that they are doing as much as possible to block out the noise so they can play their football. Is it enough? Will it work? I'm not too sure.
We'll see. Let's find out a result, really. Manchester City 1, Everton 1. Very exciting game, back and forth. 1 red card each for the teams. But I've read write-ups, and people are beginning to say Pep Guardiola has started his whole tricks again of overthinking when it comes to his team. Leroy Sané was played as a left wing back. He was absolutely poor on the day defensively. From his side, that was when Everton conjured their goal. What should Pep Guardiola do with this team? Because he has a great talent, he's got a great pool, but people are saying that he's just stretching the matter and he's not taking the natural decisions.
Well, I mean, it's a two-sided argument. I don't necessarily think that he has the right personnel to win the league, if you ask me. I believe that
he spent money on defenders. Danilo,
he did spend
Kyle
money.
Walker,
he did spend money, and I did tell you that it would be interesting to note if his fancy defense can actually defend. And so far, I have not necessarily been convinced. Why? Because Manchester City have not played any serious contenders. They've not had any A-plus assignments, and already they look wobbly to me. If you look at the forward line as well, that for me is where the problem lies, where you have a line of about 5-6 players all under 6 feet. That's a problem. That's a big problem for me.
So they don't have presence.
They don't have presence at all. And when he makes substitutions, you expect that those should be changes that give you a different dimension to be able to exploit
and
your
City
opponent.
Don't have
Whenever they make substitutions, I see Bernardo Silva come on for Leroy Sané. I see him come on for David Silva. I see somebody like Leroy Sané or Raheem Sterling come on for a Gabriel Jesus. Very like-for-like changes. So there isn't a lot of versatility to their team, which makes it very easy for opponents to plan to counter you. And I saw that against Everton Football Club. Everton were supremely disciplined, but for one lapse in concentration that allowed Raheem Sterling in. I believe that Pep Guardiola, believe it or not, after this season, there will be a lot of divisions in the Guardiola camp on as to if he really is as big a genius as we say he is, or he's always had it comfortable. This is what I think. I think that his biggest achievement as a manager was managing Lionel Messi to get the best out of him as
you don't think he's done stellar jobs in Germany?
I do not think that he is an exceptional manager. I think that
lots of people disagree with you.
I think that he did an exceptional man management job to get Messi to the levels that no other manager has been able to do. That's a different issue from being the guy who birthed certain tactics, who changed certain trends and bucked certain patterns. Again, this season, this is the real test. Look, if you go to Bayern Munich and you have all the A-list players already presented to you, you really have done nothing. If you go to Barcelona and you have arguably the greatest footballer of all time playing in your team, you have done nothing. But again, I will give him props for getting the greatest footballer to play like the greatest footballer. Now you are in the most competitive league in the world. You need to prove to everybody that it really isn't about the name, it's about the game. So far, I don't think Pep has done enough to convince anybody, and even to convince his own self that what he's doing is the right thing. Because at this point, I don't know what Manchester City are doing.
We'll see. It's a very long season. Lots of questions will be asked. Some answers will be had. Others will have to be deferred until later. But let's just take a short break. When we come back, we look ahead to a weekend where Arsenal will have to travel to Liverpool. And we'll find out who wins the Ghanaian showdown between Christian Atsu and Andrea Yu. Hi, we are back as the Premier League Preview Show live on Facebook Live on CCTV. Drop your comments. Some people have been doing that. Remember that the coverage on air and all around is brought to you by Premium Bank, Slide Pay, and Betway. We'll be talking Fantasy League a little later, but let me read some of the comments. Ado Daku Nicola says, okay, he was responding to somebody's message. Nanaya Wansa says, choice of dictionary is impeccable. Thank you very much. Kylian Kofi Omashi, not Kylian Mbappe. Says, I was very pleased with the victory Chelsea secured last weekend. It's still very early. We should not make a mistake of writing Chelsea off. We won't do that. I tipped Chelsea to win the league in my preview. We'll see what happens. Samuel Abaji says, United is on course to win the league. Mokhtar Eliasu says, no team can stop United. Yo Gain says, I'm enjoying your show in Atlanta. Hi! How is ATL? Is it warm, cold, chilly? Let's know what's happening there. Reginald Mackenzie Hamilton Nelson says, United all the way. Enoch Bodio says, come on, United is on fire. All right. Nene Gold Amma says, Ben, it's a long season. Pep still has a point to prove. City will be better as the league progresses. City till I die. I can tell you, this running battle between Benjamin and Pep Guardiola will not end. I'm telling you. But Ben, let's think about this weekend's games. And even though on paper some of the games look, they don't look too good. We know that the Premier League always sells us fantastic games. We've got Bournemouth, who welcome Manchester City, and City are hoping to recover because a few more drop points and the gaps will start to emerge between themselves and the teams that are taking good leads in the Premier League. For Bournemouth, they want to respond, but they wouldn't have wanted this kind of response. They take on Manchester City after losing to Watford last week.
Well, you challenge yourself as a team. I mean, you don't look for easy opponents to respond. And typically, this should be a game Manchester City should be winning, but Bournemouth have a thing for surprises. I don't think
Liverpool 4-3 last year.
I don't think it's a game they will go into as favourites, but they have the tendencies to make this a very, very uncomfortable trip for Manchester City, especially if Manchester City fail to stamp their authority in the match in about the first quarter. Now, what Bournemouth have over Manchester City is better energy. Now, these guys can run you ragged for 90 minutes plus.
How come they've not shown it very early in the season? Because you think that there's enough chemistry in the team to let them start off with a bang. It's been very slow, and Eddie Howe, after match day 2, criticized his players and said that they looked very different from the team that was soaking in instructions on the training pitch and in the dressing room before they walked out.
Maybe it's the hangover of being in the Premiership a season or two. You know, the hunger isn't quite the same yet. And it's good that Eddie Howe will call out his lads for lackadaisical performances. But again, like I'm saying, sometimes you need a game of this nature to be able to shock you back into life. Okay. And that's what I think Bournemouth need to do. This is the kind of game that gives a manager a tick in the book of a lot of people if he's able to go out there and tactically outclass his opponent. So for Eddie Howe, I'm sure that he will have his charts on X and O's properly mapped out on how to beat Manchester City. To me, it's easy. Attack the wings, attack the wings, attack the wings. Look, you can mention Benjamin Mendy all you want. You can mention Kyle Walker all you want. I say this. These wing backs know how to attack. They know how to join the fray when the team is moving forward. They do not know how to defend. Benjamin Mendy is new to the EPL. He's not used to the rhythm.
If you even get him in.
He's not used to the rhythm of the EPL just yet. I saw Danilo get a running in their previous game. I still don't think he's hit his stride yet. I've had my own reservations about him as a player, but again, there's just so much to be tested with this Manchester City team. Again, I look at that central midfield and I am not convinced. I'm not convinced at all, because if you look at City, their biggest assets are their forward line. Now,
forward line that's struggling.
That's not in sync yet. There's no chemistry either. They have quality names.
Gabriel Jesus and Aguero took wrong decisions every step of the way.
And you get this strange sense looking at Sergio Aguero's body language that he isn't quite.
Do you think he wants out?
I think he doesn't know what he wants at this point. I believe that he doesn't know what he wants at this point. I mean, there was a point last season where he wanted to leave. He was convinced by the manager that he was still in the manager's plans. And of course, this season, he's featured quite prominently in the
is the manager having a negative effect on him that is turning him into a player he's not?
I just believe that he's just at a stale point in his career where he's not too motivated to get goals. He's just sort of indifferent at this point. I mean, getting goals will be good. If he doesn't, it doesn't really bother him, because I believe that the longer this goes on, then he will inch closer to the exit door. At this point, it feels like he's still sort of testing how the team still rates his value, if you get what I'm saying. He's still sort of finding out if he is still the centerpiece for the team like he was before Pep Guardiola came in. So he's just not feeling comfortable in the team.
He's just not feeling comfortable.
He would want a manager who would give him better assurance. And I believe that, look, you could be playing bad football, you could not be creating the most chances, but if you have a player like Sergio Aguero totally assured of the confidence of the manager, he's the sort of guy who can turn games around. I've seen him do it before. He's just not looked right to me in the past couple of months, and it's contributed to Manchester City's struggles.
City will have to find goals from somewhere. They struggled during the week to get goals, but they'll have to do that against Bournemouth, who are hoping to recover. Let's talk about Newcastle and West Ham. Two teams who are yet to record any point, and they are not playing well. But you look at West Ham, they look slightly better than Newcastle. At least they scored 2 goals against Southampton the other day, thanks to Javi Hernandez Chicharito. Newcastle have struggled to find anything close to scoring, and it's beginning to look a little complicated.
Well, I mean, Rafael Benitez said it. He was frustrated. The lack of transfer activity was not the best. Now he's talking about offloading players and trying to get some guys in before the window shuts. Guess what? The window shuts in a couple of days, and Newcastle are still struggling.
And talking about that, we will be doing live Don't Call Me on City FM that night, Thursday night, 31st August, around 9 p.m. So tune in, be with us as we tell you the latest news. Maybe Benitez might be signing you out there. You never know.
Yes. So Christian Atsu, really. I mean,
is he Newcastle's most important player?
At this point, if I look at their lineup, he's their most creative player. Why is he not creating the goal scoring opportunities?
That's what I was about to ask.
That's the problem for me. I also feel that he's one guy who needs to get his internal communication right so he can get his confidence right. He needs to tell himself that, look, forget about the injuries that have happened, forget about the mishaps that have happened. I really can do this. I really am good enough to play in the English Premier League. That's what he needs. And he needs the backing of the manager to be able to go ahead and do that. Because you look at a game against a team like West Ham United, and I beg your pardon, but I have no respect for West Ham United's defense. Their team is all over the place. I don't think that they spend their money prudently as a club. And they should be worried as a team, because Now Chairman David Gold goes on Twitter and says that how do you sleep? He tweets that how do you sleep when you spend money on Snodgrass, Ayew, and co, and they are not giving you the performance?
That should tell us that this is beginning to feel uncomfortable in the boardroom, and a reaction is on its way. I tipped Slaven Bilic to be fired first. I still stand by it, and I think that a few more bad results and he will be out of a job.
Remember, I told you that West Ham should have fired Bilic last season.
You said so.
They should have fired him last season. He should
have cut a clean break.
He doesn't look to me like a manager who has a vision. He looks to me like he's going with things as the flow comes. And really, that's not good enough. For a team that has moved into a new stadium, invested a lot of money, paid record monies for players in back-to-back seasons, this just doesn't cut it for me. And again, I look at them as a unit, and I'm asking myself again, where is the West Ham United identity? Who is the leader in defense for West Ham United? Who is the chief playmaker for West Ham United? And Javier Hernandez, of course, is supposed to be the spearhead of attack. We know that he's capable of feeding on scraps, but even the scraps are not coming. When he's able to actually get goals from what goes through the midfield, the defense cannot hold up their end of the bargain. So West Ham United's problems are manifold.
So in the case of two bad teams, who wins it?
That's interesting. I think West Ham United
do certainly have a better offense.
But I think that Rafael Benitez is more pragmatic, especially in matches of this nature. He knows how to grind out such results, especially after experiencing two bad games. And I did say that he's not going down with Newcastle United. They will get it right at a point. They just need to find that creative juice in their team. So far, they don't have it. I think that they are at least two creative midfielders short of actually competing.
We'll see. Lanzini is out injured. Snodgrass has been told he can leave. So that makes Slaven Bilic's work all the more complicated in a season he needs to get results, or he'll be jobless. Final game on Saturday, Man United versus Leicester. United are in a great place. Leicester hope to respond. We don't know if Jamie Vardy will play, but you get it. This is United's first test of the season. A Leicester City that's confident, buoyant. We saw what they did away at Arsenal. United will have to be very careful.
Exactly, and it's a slight taste of the Championship Leicester. The long ball, run, counter-attack, feed Jamie Vardy, Leicester City. And that's what United haven't encountered yet. They've had the luxury of controlling possession and also bossing the tempo of the two games they've played so far. I do believe that they will again control the tempo of this game, but it might mean close to nothing, especially if you look at how matches between Leicester and United have gone over the past few seasons. Now, Leicester City now have quietened down from the pressure of having to live up to a championship season. You get the sense that that cloud has lifted over their heads. So now they're just ready to play football and looking to be probably a mid-table or a Europa League team come the end of the season. Nothing to lose for them at all, and that's where the motivation lies. Go out there, play free-flowing attacking football, attack your opponents, and look to get you some goals. Jamie Vardy is a Manchester United killer. If you look at United's games with Leicester, he's always that guy in the mix, always holding the spear to the side of United. Will Lukaku be able to find his scoring boots once again? We'll live to see. But I mean, if I look at Leicester City as a team, their defense needs some work as well. I'm still not buying that Morgan bits in defense. I mean, Robert Huth has really not
hasn't played a lot this season.
But I'm really enjoying that centre back pairing from that young chap. His name just slipped me a little, but he's doing pretty well with Morgan in that defensive pairing. Only that sometimes they just take too long to deal with simple situations. And a team like United only need one little slip to be able to make it count in a game. So if Leicester can tidy up their little errors, I think that they should be able to at least manage to squeeze a result out of this. A draw should do.
Okay, let me go to some of the messages. Prince Dia says, watching you live from Burj Khalifa. Okay, thank you very much. You're enjoying Burj Khalifa. Okay. Enoch Brady also says Newcastle win this game to get their first win. Philip Wintu says Chelsea FC no size. Okay. Jacob Lam says great show. Thank you very much. So many thoughts. Let me just go through. People are just keep sending in your thoughts. We'll be talking a little fantasy league just before we leave. But just snappy thoughts on Chelsea-Everton. We know where they are going. Everton 4 points, 1 win, 1 draw. Chelsea 3 points, first win of the season. Everton go to Stamford. But last season, they were torn apart by 5-0. Will it be closer this time?
It will definitely be closer. And I definitely believe that as far as the league is concerned, among the top tier teams, Everton are the most unassuming and the most dangerous. So is their manager, Ronald Koeman.
Okay.
I mean,
you seem to have a lot of...
They never come in with a
lot of respect and trust in his capabilities.
Exactly my point, because he never seems to be the guy who talks a lot of trash. He's just straightforward. That's his job. If he needs to come down hard on the player, he comes down hard on the player, be it in the media or be it in private. But as far as his tactical prowess is concerned, I believe that he's right up there with the best in the business.
We saw Everton pick up a point the other day. So they took a lead, tried to defend, it didn't work out. Do you think they'll try something similar, or they'll be a bit more adventurous, especially taking something out of Burnley's playbook from opening day?
It will be interesting to see the type of Everton team that turns up, but they will be full of energy and they will be very, very aggressive. I'm yet to see the same level of aggression from Chelsea this season, and that's practically because they haven't had a settled central midfield partnership yet. They've had suspension issues.
Once that's settled,
they've had injury issues. Once that's settled, I think that they should be able to get a rhythm going. But you don't want to play against Everton when you are not settled, and especially when they've come off the back of 2 very good games to start the season. They are that dangerous a side. Now, look at this. They've played Manchester City already. They managed to get a win against Stoke City. If Everton manage to claim the scalp of Chelsea, they will be a very, very dangerous
team. After that, they
team.
take on Man United.
They will be a team to watch, because that is some serious confidence and that's serious momentum building for them if they can get these games out of the way. Now, they get these games out of the way and they have practically teams of lower stature or equal stature to play against. They should be a dangerous team.
So we'll see how Everton does. Now, that Chelsea-Everton game is one half of our Super Sunday. We'll not be in studio, we'll be out there. We are going to Salisbury in Naboni. So that's our first game. The other one is the showstopper. It's Liverpool taking on Arsenal. Liverpool won 3-1 last season. Arsenal are hoping to respond from losing to Stoke, and going to Liverpool is clearly not an easy place to go and get points. They should test both sides.
3-4-2-1 by Arsene Wenger. So he started off the back of last season when the team had troubles, and he stuck to it this season. Only problem is there aren't really any real centre-backs in that situation. If you take away, Kolasinac is a wing back. You take away
Rob
Holding. He's had a shaky start to the season for me. He looked confident, but it was almost as if his feet could not communicate what his mind was thinking in some of those games. But again, Arsenal's real problem lies again in that midfield. El Neni, for me, started out promisingly in Arsenal. He's become sort of an average player for me. If I was Arsene Wenger, I'd really love to have Coquelin in my midfield, possibly alongside Aaron Ramsey or Granit Xhaka. So depending on what Arsenal go with, this should be quite a cracker. Liverpool, on the other hand, love these type of games. And you know that they've come off a very shaky opening 2 matches of the season. Their confidence isn't quite where they want it to be. So it's a game where Jurgen Klopp will map out his charges to, of course, go out there, attack, and look to take advantage of early opportunities. Arsenal are never that team that will prevent you from scoring. If Liverpool get an early goal in that game and Arsenal do not do anything to arrest it quickly, they could be in trouble. It's one of those games where you get the sense that could just trample in Liverpool for the season.
Okay.
It's just that bad for Arsenal in defense. They're just all over the place whenever teams attack them. And Liverpool's best attacking options or their most dangerous weapons are out on the wing. So you take from the wing back position, Mo Salah, you have even Moreno out there, Trent Alexander-Arnold looking good to start the season. He's playing quite promisingly.
So Liverpool have it to do at home. They've got to respond against Arsenal. So we'll be at Salisbury in Laboni for that particular game. That's Sunday at 3 p.m. Before that, there's Chelsea versus Everton. Also at Salisbury. So join us from about 11 in the morning. Come have a drink and just sit and wait, because it will be a fantastic Sunday afternoon. Let me read these messages. So Enogbedi Owusu is not too happy. He says, Leicester can't win against Manchester United. And he says, how can Ben say Vardy is United's killer? How many goals has he scored against United? Well, 3. 3. Remember the 5-3 win? He scored twice in that particular game. And then scored to smash Ruud van Nistelrooy's record. But we'll see. It could all come to nothing. Or we'll see how Manchester United will fare. Let me just run you through the Fantasy League. So it's been going on in the Fantasy League. People are racking up the points. Let me mention the first 5 players, the first 5 managers for this match week. Michael Mensah, whose team is Kira 98, is leading with 183 points. John FFK Yon Killen has 180 points. Kobe All Stars, managed by Ernest Edueje, is on 179 points. Bell FC, managed by Manuel Beko, is on 176. And Radi Boache, Radi FC, 169. He's tied with Sunny Boys and Estoffer, also 169. Ben is beginning to get really cramped at the top.
I mean, the Fantasy League is exciting, and I do my best to shake up my team every now and then. I've done my shake up for the week.
Okay, so just quick thoughts. If you had to give one tip this week, what would you tell people out there?
Go out there and look out for a Manchester United player. Go out there and look for a Manchester United player.
Defense, midfield, attack.
Midfield, preferably. Midfield, preferably. They look like their clock is ticking. They look like they just have it going at the moment. Mkhitaryan, Pogba, the connection is just there. They have
some good points.
They have the
Pogba gave 15.
They have the sort of games to aid their players rack up more points of Fantasy League managers. So if you're a Fantasy League guy out there, United's midfield is that ground. You just want to go there and pluck at least one of those players. Okay,
so Ben's tip for the weekend or for the match week: get a United player, preferably in midfield or in attack, because it could be late. That's our show for today. Thank you very, very much. Remember, the coverage is live on City 97.3, probably brought to you by Betway Premium Bank and Slide Pay. Saturday, we start off at 11:30. Super Sunday is at Salisbury in Laboni. From 12, we go live. There's Liverpool versus Arsenal at 3. Chelsea taking on Everton at 12:30. Thank you so much for your comments. You can still enjoy this video because the link will still be active soon after the lights have gone off and you're going to have rice and stew somewhere in the corner of our car. Do take care. We are back next Wednesday. We'll catch you then. It's Premier League, #City Sports, and like we say, expect the unexpected.